Hello, welcome to Kids Camp Presents. My name is Deb Yamaguchi. I am your host for today's segment, and I'm here with Anna Coulter today. She is here to present her program on better world cuisine. Anna, please welcome.
Welcome. Hello,
Hello.
Deborah. Hello, viewers.
So would you go ahead and introduce yourself for us?
All right. I'm originally from Switzerland, as you maybe can already hear from my funny accent. My background is art and architecture, but this has dramatically changed in the last few years. I'm now teaching people how to say no to cancer, diabetes, and heart attacks or other inflammatory illnesses. I have trained about 200 wellness cuisine chefs and certified them, and also organized a lot of wellness events in this area.
Wow, you sound like you're very busy. Well, what has motivated you into getting into this better lifestyle and better world cuisine?
About 3 years ago, a really close and dear friend to me had pancreatic cancer and passed. It was very touching for me. I really loved the guy. And shortly before he died, I made a promise to him that I would teach people to say no to cancer, diabetes, and other inflammatory illnesses. And I believe it's possible.
Oh my goodness. That sounds like it was a very moving and difficult time in your life. And I can see why you're motivated to start this program.
It also was actually a beautiful time because he was so open.
Was he?
And very inspiring, yes. He said totally yes to what happened to him. But still, it would have been really nice, it could have been avoided.
Can you tell us how your program is important to children?
It's super important to children because most of the cancers actually are initiated in childhood. That's where we form certain habits and start to eat foods we really shouldn't eat, especially processed food, which often contains coloring, stabilizer, and so on, all that stuff which actually represses the immune system.
Oh.
So it's really a good thing to learn early on what creates all those illnesses before it's too late.
So what is better world cuisine?
It is a diet where you don't create inflammation in your body. It's a way of eating healthy, mostly plant-based and whole food, if possible organic, without GMO. It is a program really which teaches you the base of healthy eating. It is supported by Professor Adiel Tel-Oren, an MD, and also includes a lot of principles from Dr. Furman and Dr. Gerson. They are both very famous doctors. Overall, the program is really good for prevention. But not only, it's also great when you already have a disease and may really help you.
Oh, wow. So what would you consider healthy foods to eat? What are the good foods?
Yes.
Tell us the good foods.
Yes. The best foods, of course,
Looks
are
like right
vegetables.
from the tree.
Right. They have the most nutrients. So most vegetables have 20 to 50 times more vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients than things like bread, cheese, eggs, and those kind of things.
Okay.
That's a lot, not just double, 20 to 50 times more.
Oh my goodness.
Just imagine somebody serves you a bowl of pasta. There are hardly any nutrients in the pasta, but on top is this little parsley, which a lot of people remove and just use as decoration, and that is like a nutrient atomic bomb nearly for the body. It really contains so much more than the whole rest.
Wow, I do find that surprising, parsley. I always think of parsley as decoration on a nice plate of pasta. You're correct.
Yeah.
I don't think of it as a healthy food. So what would you consider an unhealthy food, not healthy?
I rather tell you first also not just vegetables are healthy, also fruits and
Oh,
nuts. They're also important in this. And with the healthy food, you want to try to eat as much as you can. And that's not always easy. And I would like to give you a sample how you can eat lots of greens like the parsley.
Oh, okay.
Like
Please.
here, I brought along a whole bunch of parsley, and I would like to eat this whole thing. So what you can do, you stick this whole bunch in a blender and add to it like 3 peaches, or if you don't have peaches, you can add like 2 pears and some water, and you blend this up, and then try this. It's fantastic.
So it's kind of like
This
a parsley
means-
smoothie.
Yes. This means you can drink your vegetables. Or you could also take a whole bag of lettuce, like I have here. This is organic herb salad.
Okay.
And you put this into your blender, the whole bag. And you add to it 1, 2 bananas and some milk or whatever, and you have a fantastic smoothie. You really need to try it out, that you believe me. But this is a way that it tastes great and you eat a lot of it.
You know, you've been mentioning milk, and I think you had told me something different about milk. Would you explain the milk that we
Right.
should be drinking?
Right. Milk is a big problem. Most people are still denying actually that milk is not so good. And there are so much studies by now out there. I really recommend, if you don't know about, go and get the book The China Study by Professor Campbell. It will open your eyes and make it very clear that it does create a lot of inflammation in the body, and it's really not made for human beings. It's made for baby cows. And so you want to have nice alternatives.
Okay.
And actually, that's super easy. You can get like almond milk or organic soya milk. Take the organic, it has no GMO, or coconut milk. Now, if you buy those cards in the store, you know, they still have preservative and all that kind of stuff in it. So it's still a lot better than just cow's milk. But if you want to do the ultimate, you make your own milk.
You make your own milk.
Yeah, and it's also super easy. You can do it in just a few minutes. So you take again your blender and put in a few almonds or sunflower seeds or whatever you like, some nuts or seeds. Add to that water, mix it up, blend it up. And then when you have this mixture, you put it through a bag. I brought one along. This is a nice nut milk bag. It's beautiful because it has round corners. You pour this in here, you close your bag, and now you milk it like a cow. And then you over here in the bowl, you get beautiful milk. I took a jar along here. This is homemade almond milk. And then in here you have leftovers. And with the leftovers from the almond, you can make a cookie or something else. You have lots of options. But this way, you have a totally fresh milk, which is healthy. It holds about 1 to 3 days. It tastes best when you drink it just really fresh.
So this is the milk you would put in the smoothie. Oh, wonderful.
This is the milk I will put in a smoothie. Generally, the food you really want to avoid, if possible, are the processed food. And most people actually know it. But still, the average American has 60% of their food intake are actually processed foods. And only a measly
pretty
12% is whole foods. And it should be the other way around. It's just processed foods are very addictive, especially sugar. And it's very hard to let go if you're not used to. But it's worthwhile to try.
Oh, it actually sounds like fun, making almond milk. I never
It's
thought
fun,
to do
and
that.
also it can be easy. You can make fabulous tasting, great food, which are really not hard. You just have to try.
So tell us a little bit more about your program, and where can we find out more about Better World Cuisine?
The Better World Cuisine program is actually available on the web. Just go to betterworldcuisine.com. and you get a lot of free information and also some demonstrations how to prepare the food so it's really healthy and good tasting.
So people can find out how to make almond milk on your
Right.
website, and where to purchase something like this,
Yes.
so they can make it.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful! And this is great. And I think that you were also telling me about how to make a salad. How would you make a healthy salad? What would you like to tell the viewers today?
Okay. So if I make a salad, I make sure that I get organic salad. That's the first thing. Put it in a bowl, and now it needs a dressing. I prefer to have a really simple dressing. Like, for example, you could take an avocado and a little lemon juice and mix it in a small blender or just by hand, however you like it. And that's a fabulous dressing. How easy is that? Or you take lemon juice and a few cashew nuts and maybe a little poppy seeds. It tastes fabulous. Just mix it up. Just try to make your own dressing before you just grab something from the shelf. Now, on top of this salad, I like to put superfoods. And the superfoods would be raw chopped onions, beans, berries, like some blueberries or whatever, and also some seeds and some mushrooms.
Oh.
All of those fives are really superfoods, and it's great if you include them in any salad, and it also will make you full. Then if you add all those things, you can really make also a salad your main dish.
So, just to round it up, wrap it up, what if we pull all of this together and we have healthy foods and we eat whole foods and we have almond milk instead of regular milk, and this will improve us in what way? This will help us with cancer?
This will really help us to say no to cancer as much as we can. There's so many environmental factors we have to deal with, so we want to do the best we can with the way we eat.
Oh, wonderful. And I want to thank you here today, and I'm so glad that you were influenced by your friend to come up with this wonderful Better Foods program. And thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you. Is that it? We're pretending to talk now. Hello, and welcome to Kids Camp Presents. I am Deborah Yamaguchi. I'm your host for this segment today, and I'm here today with Michael Donahue. He's from Cara. Welcome very much.
Thank you for
coming
having me,
today.
Deborah. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you finally.
Good to meet you, too.
Yeah. So tell us, what is Cara?
CARA is a grief organization, a counseling organization. We focus on peer grief counseling, and we offer it for children, teens, and adults and families. We also do end-of-life counseling, which is when someone is diagnosed with a terminal illness, and the family and the individual want to transition through that in a very positive way.
Oh, wow. So you come into people's lives when it's like the worst time of their lives.
Yeah.
And you help them through this. It's very impressive.
You know what's amazing about it, though, is the process itself of the counseling piece, as well as like the end-of-life piece, can be some of the most rewarding, oddly enough, experiences in a person's life, because they are so touched by the event, obviously, of losing a loved one, or in the process of losing a loved one, or dying themselves, that you're really quite raw, which leaves you open to be able to accept a whole lot of different things that you might not have been able to before in your life. Yeah. So it's really fascinating to see how people go through this as a journey and come through it really on the other side quite often, just in a very positive space.
So I think you're helping a lot of people. Can you tell us how the Cara organization began?
Yeah, it started back in 1976 actually as a piece of Shanti. And Shanti is an organization that started out with terminal cancer patients so that they would have a support structure around them with volunteers that would come and help them stay in their homes, help them through the process basically of dying. And that evolved then during the AIDS crisis into an AIDS organization because there was just such a huge demand during that time frame. And one of our advisory council members is actually the founder of Shanti, and that's Dr.
Really?
Charles Garfield. And so Charlie still advises Cara, and he's just an amazing human being. The planet's lucky to have him. Let's put it that way.
Well, can you tell us what sort of programs do you have that help children these days?
We have the Youth and Family Program, which is focused in on the kids and the adults. And so they come to our program at the particular site where we hold it, and that's in Palo Alto. And the parents then split from the children. The children go off with the counselors, and the parents then stay in a parent group and have an opportunity to spend time together discussing the challenges that they're facing and the opportunities and the changes and everything else that's going on in their family dynamics and in their lives and their children's lives. And then the kids go through everything from our sand tray portion to the sharing stick to one of the most popular pieces is the steam room.
The steam room.
The steam room.
You have to tell me about a steam room.
The steam room is really cool. When I got to CAR, it was one of the first places I wanted to go.
Yes.
Because I've been with the organization for just over a year. And they took me to the steam room, and here it is with like a wrestling mat from high school kind of thing, you know, those thick mats that you can jump on and not hurt yourself, right? And then there's all these pillows, and then there's this like gigantic creature sort of thing that they can punch into and hit and everything else. And what the steam room is a place for a kid to go and let off steam with another kid. And so it's nice and safe because there's all of the adults there supervising. And the kids are in a space where they're safe to be able to just really let their emotions out, just let it go in a physical sense in a way that isn't going to really damage themselves or anybody else or any property. You know, and so when you're in a grief process, you can be really angry. You know,
Yes,
that's
I
part of
imagine
it.
that, yes.
That's part of the phase. So to get through grief, so this gives them a chance to kind of let it out and have a good time at the same time.
About what age do you start having children?
6 through 17, basically, is
Appropriate.
kind of where we're at with that particular program at the present time.
Oh, and I do understand you have some kind of camp.
Yeah, we do. It's Camp Aaron, the Cara Camp Aaron piece. Excuse me, and I've got to say, without the Taylor Family Foundation, it would just be impossible to do. It's an amazing organization, and we're very, very blessed to have them. And it's held up at Camp Arroyo, and it's actually just a 3-day camp, but during that period, the kids get basically 6 months worth of grief counseling in that time frame.
In 3 days.
Yeah, because it's an intensive environment where they are sharing and going through different group programs together, all living together in separate cabins by age. So we break them up into different age sets. And then we intersperse things like the pool for swimming and the zip line where they can go up on the ladder and up on this podium and then slide down, you know, and have a good time that way as well. So we mix both the healing part of the group sessions in with some fun play. And one of the great things we got was at the end of this camp this year was, I believe he's 10 years old, and the little boy said, the hardest thing I've ever done was leave camp.
Oh my goodness.
You know, and that's a grief camp. So you can imagine how deeply it must touch the kids and how much fun at the same time they get to have. You know?
And let me ask you a little bit, as running along here.
Yeah.
So let me ask about, do you have community programs as well?
Oh yeah,
Do events?
CARA itself is an organization that is a peer grief counseling organization. So it's for children, teens, and adults when it comes to grief counseling. It's free of charge. We also have a therapy program, which is for complicated grief issues, and that is a fee-based program, and that has our professional MFTs, our psychologists, etc., that are handling those particular situations, those clients.
For an audience that doesn't know, what is an MFT?
Oh, marriage and family therapist.
Okay. Wonderful. And how would somebody get in touch with you, or how would they get an intake and become part of your program?
Well, the best thing to do is call in, you know, and just 650-321-5272, and they can go through the process. What we do is we do an intake form over the phone to understand what the situation is, because there's all sorts of different kinds of grief that people are experiencing. And then it goes for an intake where they come in and they sit down with one of our directors, who is a counselor, and they do the intake portion. So they really get more deeply into the process of what the person is experiencing and how the death occurred and how it's affecting them, etc. And then we go through a matching program where an individual, quite often, who was formerly a client, will go through the program, separate from CARA for a year or more, come back and go through our training program,
And this is your
become
volunteer
a counselor.
program.
Yeah, and then become a peer counselor. So that individual who's come in and done an intake would then be matched with one of those peer counselors.
Oh, wonderful.
And so they're one-on-one, and it's somebody like you and I sitting and talking and listening to one another who's been through a very similar experience.
And how many volunteers would you say you have at this point?
We're over 150 at the present time.
150?
Yeah.
My goodness.
And there's a huge training portion to it. And then there's a whole lot of support structures that we have built into the program as well for the volunteers. So they're never feeling kind of like out on their own, you know. It's a very well thought out program over the past 36 years. I'm extremely proud of it.
Oh my goodness. And let me tell you, I'm also a CARA volunteer.
I know,
I
heard
did see
that.
you speak once.
Uh-oh.
It was a wonderful thing. At your gala that you have once a year.
Which one? This year's?
It was this year's.
Okay.
I saw you speak, because you weren't there last year, the
That was
previous
our
year.
Paris.
Oh,
April
it was
in
wonderful, wonderful. And you had beautiful baskets everywhere with themes and auctions, and you were giving away 500 daffodils.
Yeah, that was one of the
That
big
was one
favorites.
of your auctions, and I think you had to come up with 8.
Well, you know, we sold 8 of them.
Prize.
You know, we were supposed to sell 1, and of course, you know, I asked whether or not anybody else in the room wanted to go ahead and match that price. We had about 5 or 8 hands go up for that.
Oh,
But this particular organization is blessed with volunteers that are just incredible. And that gala, the thank you has to go out to the Davison family, Cindy and Wayne and their kids, because they devote so much time to doing the galas at CARA. And it couldn't be done without them. That experience, all of the exciting elements of it and all the glamour is because of those people.
well, I even found out from volunteering from a different organization that volunteers for CARA, and it seems like you switch off. So your CARA staff members volunteer for other nonprofits, and
We
then
do
they
often, yeah.
also help. So you bring the experience and the skills.
Yeah, we
from the
believe
different
in a real
ones.
partnership within the community. You know, it's not about you know, standalone organizations, in our opinion. It's about us partnering with different foundations, different organizations in the community
really a
where we can
community effort.
complement. Yeah, definitely.
Really is.
We work a lot with the schools. We work a lot with businesses. And so when there's a death at a business or a terminal illness diagnosed, we'll work with that company in order to help their employees go through that process and really kind of expedite that grief process in the workplace so that it smooths things out a little bit.
Well, Michael, I think we're about out of time.
Oh, this has been a joy, Deborah.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to meet you
Thank you.
and have this interview and get to know about CARA.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you so much. I think we got it. Did we get it, guys? Are they clapping? I think they're clapping in there.
Wednesday morning. Instead, let the family remain in the United States temporarily. 5 aliens from Jupiter had washing machine throwing contests. One of the aliens, named Bob, made an awesome throw. Friends and advocates launched a last-minute campaign over the weekend to halt Mountain View resident Mandeep Chahal's deportation. which was scheduled for 1 a.m. Wednesday. The 20-year-old has lived in the Bay Area since she was 6 years old and studies neurology, psychology, and behavior at UC Davis.
Hunt for hackers of U.S. government sites leads to Essex teenagers' bedroom police believe Ryan clearly, 19, had significant role in hacker group LulzSec, which is thought to have attacked CIA website. The Essex property where teenager Ryan Cleary has arrested as part of a Scotland Yard and FBI probe into LulzSec. As hacker group investigations believe a teenager arrested at his family home in Essex may have been a significant figure in a computer hacking group alleged to have staged attacks against websites belonging to the government, the electronics giant Sony, and an elite British crime unit. Scotland Yard cybercrime detectives were questioning Ryan Cleary, 19, over attacks carried out by the LulzSec group, which mostly target websites belonging to the institutions and companies in the U.S.
Monday, the Chronicle's Heather Knight published an article on the mass emigration of San Francisco families for other more family-friendly cities. Commoners were unsurprised. In the main issues of schools, housing expenses, crime in general, difficulties/stress involved in San Francisco life are all well known to residents here.
And that's it. Nothing else happened today. Not a single thing. I swear. I was out looking for something too. Oh well. See you next week. Hopefully something interesting will happen.